So the America Last program is going to carry on. America Last, Joe Biden 2.0. The State Department has formally told Congress that it plans to sell more than $7 billion in weapons to Israel, including thousands of bombs and missiles, just 2 days after Donald had met with Benjamin Netanyahu. The massive arms sale comes as a fragile ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas holds, even as Trump continues to tout his widely criticized proposal to move all the Palestinians out of Gaza and then to redevelop Gaza as an international travel destination. So this is from the AP. So $7 billion. We're going to give Israel $7 billion more. So when it comes to USAID, they're saying, look at all the stuff that USAID is doing. USAID is involved in so many different things. Why are we just giving our money to all these foreign nations? And they're going to freeze all the USAID in the entire world. That's our soft power, right? When you have the power of the purse and you have some influence and some say-so into all the nations of the world's affairs. This was JFK, started it in 1961. So 2 separate sales were sent to Congress. One was for $6.7 billion on an array of munitions, guidance kits, other related equipment. It included 166 small diameter bombs, 2,800 500-pound bombs, and thousands of guidance kits, fuses, and other bomb components and support equipment. And those deliveries would begin this year. How in the world are we allowing this shit to happen? Have we declared a war? Is Congress even involved? Where are the 3 branches of government at? The other arms packages is for 3,000 Hellfire missiles, related equipment for an estimated cost of $660 million. So we're going to send Israel a bunch of Hellfire missiles and a bunch of bombs, a bunch of 500-pound bombs, a bunch of munitions. $7 billion? $7 billion. How many tiny homes for $10,000 could be built for $7 billion? Trump administration backs big arms sale to Israel, defying Congress. Defying Congress. $7.4 billion is what this is saying. Despite a Democratic lawmaker's request that the sale be paused until he received more information. The Department of Defense announced that the State Department had approved a package for Israel worth an estimated $6.75 billion that included munitions, guidance kits, fuses, with Boeing Company among the principal contractors. Wow, so Boeing is going to make a shit ton of money. Good old Boeing, huh? The United States is planning military sales to Israel worth an estimated $7.4 billion. That's going to have missiles, Hellfire missiles, munitions. This is ridiculous. U.S. President Joe Biden's administration had notified Congress of a proposed $8 billion arms sale to Israel in January. 2 U.S. officials said at the time, ahead of the Republican Donald Trump taking office on January 20th. So he's doing exactly what Joe Biden was doing. He's doing the exact same thing that this is Joe Biden 2.0. This is a continuation of the genocide, a continuation of the ethnic cleansing. Trump pledged to back Israel in a surprise announcement earlier the week. He expected Gaza to be taken over by the United States. So let's see, one more article here. $7.4 billion of arms. Senior Democrat says the administration defied his request for the sale to be paused. So it's pretty much the same thing. 3,000 Hellfire missiles, related equipment for an estimated cost of $660 million. $7 billion. $7 billion. We don't have anything in this country that we could use $7 billion for. I think we could solve homelessness for $7 billion. But instead of solving homelessness, we're going to make sure that Israel has a whole bunch of... Make sure they got universal health care. Make sure their universal health care system is upheld. I got a couple passages here from the 100 Years' War on Palestine. So on page 7 it says, with his assurance in response to al-Khalidi's unasked question, Herzl. So you got this famous guy named Herzl, H-E-R-Z-L, alludes to the desire recorded in his diary to spirit the country's poor population discreetly across the borders. Oh, you mean expel them? It's clear from this chilling quotation that Herzl grasped the importance of disappearing the native population of Palestine in order for Zionism to succeed. Here's another portion from this book. This is from page 23. The momentous statement made just over a century ago on behalf of Britain's cabinet on November 2nd, 1917 by the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, Arthur James Balfour, what has come to be known as the Balfour Declaration, comprised a single sentence. His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people and will use their best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. Now, if before World War I many prescient Palestinians had begun to regard the Zionist movement as a threat, the Balfour Declaration introduced a new and fearsome element. In the soft, deceptive language of diplomacy, with its ambiguous phrase approving the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, the Declaration effectively pledged Britain's support for Theodore Herzl's aims of Jewish statehood, sovereignty, and control of immigration in the whole of Palestine. Significantly, the overwhelming Arab majority of the population, around 94% at the time, went unmentioned by Balfour, except in a backhanded way as the existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine. They were described in terms of what they were not, and certainly not as a nation or a people. The words Palestinian and Arab do not appear in the 67 words of the Declaration. This overwhelming majority of the population was promised only civil and religious rights, not political or national rights. By way of contrast, Balfour ascribed national rights to what he called the Jewish people, who in 1917 were a tiny minority, 6% of the country's inhabitants. Before securing British backing, the Zionist movement had been a colonizing project in search of a great power patron. The Palestinians now faced a far more formidable adversary than ever before, with British troops at that very moment advancing northward and occupying their country, troops who served a government who had pledged to implant a national home wherein unlimited immigration was meant to produce a future Jewish majority. And then here's a couple more sections. They talk about how they had a fruitless, legalistic approach for a decade and a half when they had the Palestinian Arab Congresses. You had just the Congresses. They don't even say what the name of the Congress was. So you had a series of 7 Palestine Arab Congresses planned by a countrywide network of Muslim Christian societies, and it held from 1919 to 1928. But Britain wouldn't recognize their political power. While Chaim Weizmann had, for example, told several prominent Arabs at a dinner party in Jerusalem in March 1918 to be aware of treacherous insinuations that Zionists were seeking political power, most knew that such assertions were strategic and meant to cloak the Zionist real objectives. Indeed, the Zionist movement's leaders understood that under no circumstances should they talk as though the Zionist program required the expulsion of the Arabs, because they would cause the Jews to lose the world's sympathy. But knowledgeable Palestinians were not deceived. They're still doing this same shit today, right? All this is about the October 7th, right? It's all about October 7th. It's not about stealing land. It's not about making a greater Israel. It's not about expelling the Palestinians. It's not about killing 300,000 people. And then if they say that there was 1.7 million people, that means there's been 600,000 killed. There was 2.3 million Palestinians. Now they're saying that they got to expel 1.7 million Palestinians. What happened to 600 Palestinians? And now the United States of America just gave Netanyahu $7 billion worth of fucking bombs. This shit is fucking sick. Al Green is right. If genocide isn't high crimes and misdemeanor, then what the hell is? If mass murder isn't a misdemeanor or high crimes, murdering 300,000 children isn't high crimes and misdemeanors, treason, then what the hell is? Anything? I can't think of a worse crime. Mass murder of people? There's a guy that was put to death in the state of Kentucky for stabbing 2 kids. And it was justice, right? Because justice is eye for an eye. So if you kill 2 kids, then the person who kills the kids gets killed. But if you kill 300,000 kids, then that's Nobody blinks an eye?